In this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to create an irresistible call to action. A strong call to action is the difference between a page that converts and one that falls flat. So the first tip to create an irresistible call to action is to have a call to action on every page, not just your home page, but also your blog posts, in your emails, and really any Facebook post or any marketing content that you do. Because everything that you write should have a call to action. After all, you're creating that piece of content for a specific reason. You want to build engagement with your prospects and audience and really get them to start taking action. And it mightn't always be the call to action on your home page, such as signing up for the 14-day trial. It could be sign up to your mailing list so then you can potentially sell to them later on. Or it might even be in an email, getting them to share it with somebody or reply to you so you can learn a little bit more about their problems and what you can help them with. But really, you should be engaging with your audience at every opportunity that you can to really build that relationship where you do something and they take action, and that's why you should have a call to action on every page. Now, I also recommend that you begin with the end in mind. So before you start writing anything, an email, a blog post, or a landing page, decide what action you want that reader to take at the end so you're really clear on it, because if you're not clear on it, they're not going to know what to do. So the second tip to create an irresistible call to action is to start with a verb. Now, it is called a call to action, so really start that call to action with action verbs like start, try, download, subscribe, watch, share, fill out, find out, shop, or order. It just makes it really clear that you're expecting them to take an action, and the best way to show that is by starting with an action verb. Now, some of these action verbs like start or try are great to use because they don't seem as committal as something like buy or shop. And that's why a lot of sites, even online course sites like Udemy, will say try any course, enroll today instead of buy or shop, because it sounds like not a big as commitment. So if you have the option, try and pick a verb like start or try that doesn't sound like a big of a commitment like shop or order. Now, the third tip to create an irresistible call to action is to create a sense of urgency. And here are some easy ways to create a sense of urgency in your call to action. Include words like click now, try our software or service today, limited time offer, quantities limited, only 47 left, sale ends on August 31st, doors close on Thursday, and don't miss out. These are all ways to create that sense of urgency. This has been a technique used before the internet was even invented to get people to buy things. The closing down sales that you might see in a retail shop, the Christmas sales, the January sales. People know that there's a deadline there, and that really encourages them to buy because it creates that sense of urgency. Now, the fourth tip to create an irresistible call to action is to really just make it visible. You need to be really clear on what you expect people to do. They don't have time to figure it out what they're supposed to do next. So you should really draw the user's eye to the action you want them to take. And you can use contrasting colors, like maybe on a website or in a blog post. Like, for example, here you can see I've highlighted in yellow, in a yellow box here, the call to action, which is to download a PDF. And of course, they enter their email in order to get that. So I get their email address. But on the page, hopefully it's a bit zoomed out, but you can see that that really does catch the attention of the blog post. Now, also in the sidebar here, hopefully you can see that this really is a contrasting color I've used to catch attention, and it's the email sign up form in the sidebar of my website. But if you're using an email, for example, you can just simply bold the call to action like I've done here on the slide, and you can really see it pops or sticks out. Another tip for emails as well is actually paste the full link into the email. When people see links, they automatically know that they're supposed to click on them And I would recommend you paste the full link in rather than say click here, because if you just have click here, it can really get lost. It's easy to miss. And if you want to make it visible in an email, you can just paste the whole link in. Even on a Facebook post as well, pasting the whole link in makes it really visible. It's really obvious what you want them to do. So tip number 4 is to make it visible. Now tip number 5 is to minimize the risk. If you want to really reduce people's fears and hesitations, you should minimize the risk and really make it easy for them to say yes. And there's a couple of ways that you can do that. One is the money back guarantee. And you can use a phrase like join today and enjoy our 100% money back guarantee for 30 days. You can also use something more specific, like if you don't get X result by X time, then I'll give you 100% of your investment back, no questions asked. And that's a good phrase to use because you're getting 100% of your investment back. So it's making them think that's an investment, it's not just an expense. And also no questions asked also reduces the risk because they know, okay, I'm not going to be bounced around from support teams. There's nothing I have to do in order to get the refund. It's just no questions asked. And so that's often a good little phrase to put in to minimize the risk. Now, another way you can minimize the risk is by saying something like start your free trial today, no credit card required, no software to install. So the risk is not just in terms of their money, but it's also their time and effort. So if you say there's no credit card required, that means they won't have to cancel it or remember to cancel it later on. And there's no big installation process, which really means there's no risk of their time and wasting it. Another phrase that can be good to use is something like download and get started today. Sign up in just 60 seconds, get approved in just 8 minutes is another thing I've seen. And those specific time numbers really minimize the risk and say, okay, I'm not going to be doing this for the next 2 hours. I can get this done quickly and it's going to be quick to get going. So that wraps up the 5 tips to create an irresistible call to action. So really what you need to do is be sure to use all these 5 tips when writing your next call to action. Remember that a strong call to action is the difference between a page that converts and one that doesn't. So take this seriously and apply those 5 tips to your next call to action.